what was it like working with John on this film for you guys? Andrew and Tobey had not before. Obviously, Tom had. What was that experience like?
It's so funny because what Tobey just said about the kind of, in those moments of awareness where you realize that we were bringing in 20 years of history and then some into a frame every day. That hugeness that I know that we only got a sense of in moments. And I remember maybe the first time I got a sense of it where I think we were on a scaffolding and like we were talking to Doctor Strange, who wasn't actually there. And Tom turned to us and said, there's something that doesn't feel quite right about this. It feels a bit awkward, or like we just kind of stood here and both me and Tobey were like, yeah, this feels a little weird. We feel a little odd. And then in that moment, John Watts comes up the scaffolding, goes, that's the movie. That's it. We got it. It's the part of the film. This is the moment. And we're all like, we're insane then. We weren't seeing what he was seeing, which he then just showed us. And it was just the three of us in our suits in the same frame. And just how profoundly moving that is unto itself for Spider-Man fans the world over. And I think it was at that point where I was like, oh no, people are gonna like this movie a lot. Or this element of things. But in regards to the bigness that Tobey was talking about, it also mostly just felt very small. Like we were making Cop Car, like we were just doing an independent Spider-Man film. And that's why the tone of these films that Tom and John have created together feel like a Michael J. Fox, John Hughes, indie kind of small details, awkward, beautiful humor, proper, deep, intimate love stuff with huge scope, but like at the essence of it is just pure heart. And that's what it felt like with John. It felt like I was just so overwhelmed by how unperturbed he was by what he was trying to achieve. Like it was so big objectively, but his calmness, his ability to allow actors to improvise, to play, and then for him to throw out wild ideas in the mix, to let takes run and run and run, to give us time to really find what we were doing, and to go down the wrong path to then find towards the new path, the right path. I was just incredibly impressed and actually just really grateful for the experience with John. He's someone that he's a real actor's director, and that is especially hard to feel in the midst of the machinery of a film that does have this scope. And I know that Tom will be able to talk to that even better than me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, John and I spoke yesterday for the first time since the film has been released. And I think it took us so long because we needed time to just kind of let the dust settle. And then we spoke yesterday, and the first kind of 10 minutes of our conversation was kind of like we're both kind of in disbelief of what's happened and what we've achieved. You know, I'm talking to him like, I remember meeting you for the first time in my trailer. I was 18 years old, and you had never directed a movie like this before, and both of us hadn't a fucking clue what we were doing. We were both like, I was petrified, he was petrified. And then on this movie, we were able to put our best foot forward, go there day one and feel confident in our capabilities. And it's just been one of those relationships that I've had that I will cherish forever. You know, John and I have no boundaries with each other. You know, we have no fear in telling each other how it is and being honest. And I think when you make these kind of movies, it's very important to make sure that you don't lose the heart and soul of why you started doing this in the first place. And I think John Watts was the perfect person to kind of keep that throughout the trilogy. But for me as an actor, he's like a gold mine. He will let you do whatever you want until you've gone too far, and then he'll reel you back in, and he'll always set you on the right track. And he's someone that you can really trust. He's incredibly creative. You know, he never sacrifices quality for quantity. You know, like he is the kind of person that will shut a scene down and say, we're done for the day. We're going to pick this up tomorrow because it's not reaching my expectations. And that's happened a few times on this film and in the previous two films. So I've always really appreciated his bravery to say to the studio, I'm finished for the day. I'm not shooting this scene until we come up with something better. I think that's an incredible quality and something I know I couldn't have done. I would have been like, yeah, just we'll shoot 4 hours over until we figure it out. Don't tell me what to do. So yeah, so I've always been a huge fan of John's, and he's a great friend. And I'm so glad that you guys had just as an amazing experience with him as I have.
I have to ask you, Tobey, I'm sure people are wondering, so what was it like? These costumes, the costume designs, it's, you know, iconic. What was it like getting back into that suit?
Well, you know, once you get through the process of, you know, really peeling it onto your body, it was, I don't know, a lot of things. It was uncomfortable getting it on, and then it's a goof, and then it also has a sort of, you know, I guess a sort of a power in a sense, because it brings me back into that character. It really does. There's so much affinity for this character. It means so much to so many people that, you know, once the sort of goofiness of being in lycra or spandex, you know, once that goes away, you're like, oh wow, this is cool. This is that sort of a responsibility, but a blessing, like something that I get to do that I'm grateful for. And so that was fun. But honestly, like being with these guys, it really was just a much richer experience than I anticipated, or that I could really even express in words. I know that's not the question about the suit, but the suit is, it just, to get to be there with these guys in their suits, and whether it was like dancing around or playing around in scenes and improvising, or you know, feeling that kind of sense of service to each other, and the character being in service to humanity, it really gives a certain perspective. And then the kind of trust and openness that I had with these guys, and John and Amy and everyone, it just brought this really open, I don't know, I just felt super safe, and like we were all on the same team and all in support of each other. And it just brought out this yeah, I don't know how to put it other than just like this really loving, fun, creative experience that I was just like sitting in gratitude every day, which is not always the case when you're working on something, you know, even just from the standpoint of like trying to figure out what you're doing, and it wasn't without its challenges, but it all just unfolded the way it needed to, or whatever. Just, it had a sense of this kind of destiny to it as well. So I guess the suit was the doorway to that.
Yes, Tom, you in particular, you might go on and do more Spider-Man. I'm going to try to get a scoop here. What's going to happen?
The truth is, the truthful answer, and I've done a whole press tour where all I do is lie. Yeah. The truth is, and you're not going to like the truth, I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question. This film for me was as special as an experience could ever be. Sharing the screen with these guys, you know, playing Spider-Man can be quite an alienating experience, because, you know, we're the three blokes, and we're the only three blokes who have done it. So to share that with you two, and for it to have been such a wonderful experience, of which I have such amazing memories, I don't know, there's part of me that feels like it's the perfect time to jump off the building and swing off into the sunset, and let the next lucky young kid come in to don the suit. I know I love this character, and I know that I am not ready to say goodbye, but if it is time for me to say goodbye, then I will do so proudly, knowing that I've achieved everything I wanted to with this character, and sharing it with these boys will be forever one of the most special experiences of my career. So if it's time, it's time. If it's not, it's not. But at the moment, I don't know.